Hi, I'm Levita Ewing with the Association of African American Cultural Gardens, and I have the honor of introducing our Sankofa Web Series to you, our audience. Our goal is to educate regarding the African American experience. Through this series, we will be interviewing some of the most interesting, engaging leaders and entrepreneurs in this great city. These change agents will tell us about themselves, what they do, why African American history is important, and what does the African American Cultural Garden mean to them. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page, the Association of African American Cultural Garden, and go to our website, AAACG.org, for the most updated information regarding events and our Sankofa Education Series. We will be breaking ground for Phase 2 of building the African American Garden early 2022, and it will be a sight to behold. But in the meantime, please enjoy this informative series brought to you by the Association of African American Cultural Gardens. Thank you.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings, full of the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
Thank you for tuning in to the Association of the African American Cultural Gardens Sankofa Education Series. I am your host, Cierra Nelson, and I am so happy to be here because this series teaches you all about the amazing journey of African Americans right here in the greater Cleveland area. This series also includes information about some of our top educators, civic leaders, political leaders, and so much more. And I'm here today honored to be with the president of Bke4Life, Elijah Wheeler. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And I just have to put it out there. I just have to say, when I saw you, I said, whoa, this is family. I said, I know Elijah Wheeler. I grew up partially at Bethany Baptist Church before switching to my church, New Community, but I used to do speeches at Bethany Baptist Church, so I'm very familiar with the Rowans and Wheelers, so thank you for coming on. Nice to see you.
Pleasure being here.
I want to talk about your story. You are the president of Bke4Life, and before you tell us about Bke4Life, what happened to you? You had a stroke and it really changed your life and your mission in your life.
It did. Back in 2010, January the 27th, 2010, that's approximately about 6:15. You don't forget when you have a stroke, okay? My body just froze up on me. And at that time, I did not realize what was going on. Come to find out, I had suffered a major stroke. And the doctors, neurologists felt like, you know, it may be some time before I could regain my strength. Probably going to lose my ability to use my right arm, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you know, thank be it to, you know, the man up above, I was able to regain 100% all my faculties. And here I am today.
Wow. Now I have to ask, this is so important because young people have strokes, older people have strokes. You're fairly young, but you mentioned that was a while ago. How old were you at the time that you had the stroke?
At that time, I was right around 57 years old.
Okay, 57, which is young in our community, is young.
Yes.
So what was your diet like? Was your diet bad, good, or?
Yeah, my diet was, it was okay, except that I had a tendency to eat a lot of sodium. Okay. You know, crackers and things of that sort, fast foods. Everything I would see, I would eat, you know. And that's not a good idea. And I had a tendency to drink a lot of pop, a lot of sugar,
Which has a lot of sodium, people don't realize.
Yes, and So they brought it to my attention, and I've decided to take a detour.
Okay. So at that point, when you had that stroke, you were so thankful that you made it through. And that was the point where you said the diet, the crackers and everything, not saying that was very bad, but that was the point where something went out and you just totally changed your diet and your lifestyle.
Yeah, my lifestyle changed. I began to really exercise, which I was not doing before. I'm not a big person, but at the same time, you still have to exercise. And one day, my doctor asked me, do you ride a bike? And I said, well, I used to when I was a kid. So you might want to give it some consideration now. So I started riding a bike and went on from there. Loved it, enjoyed it. Now it's my passion.
Wow. So speaking of your passion, so this totally changed your life and your mission, Bike4Life. Tell me about that organization. Is this for men or women? Who's it geared to? And what do you all do?
Bike4Life really came about from my passion for riding the bike so much. And it made me feel like, wow, I could do this for my rest of my life, just ride my bike. And it made me feel good. I knew I was getting a great deal of cardio exercise out of it, et cetera, et cetera. And it gave me the opportunity to be out amongst Mother Nature, to see what Mother Nature has to offer, things that we don't do in our everyday activity, And I thought, well, okay, maybe I would like to extend this to somebody else, to other people, let them know what can happen for me can happen to them. And so Bike4Life was developed. And I started reaching out to different groups, organizations, and they, took to it.
Awesome. So how big has that organization grown? It's been around for...
The organization is, we're more of a, kind of like an internet company. Okay. What we do, we sell our products, our T-shirts, backpacks, different things of that sort. And we have customers that have reached out as far as Canada, Poland.
Wow.
We've shipped all over the United States, all over the world, actually, for people who are into bike riding, who wants to exercise and be part of Bike4Life. And our slogan is "Roll with us."
Awesome. One thing you mentioned too as well, and I like that you mentioned, is that people think that sometimes you have to be obesely overweight to have problems. You can be a person that's a small size.
That's right.
and have a lot of health problems, high blood pressure, diabetes, things like that. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. And with your organization, how many people are a part of it, and how do you get out to the local community here?
We have approximately about 5 in total that's involved with our company right now. And we reach out to different organizations, churches, bike clubs, different things of that sort. We try to fill in information for them wherever they want to fill in. We give them a map. We'll give them a schedule of the events that are happening at metro parks, different places like that, where they can go and take their family, take their church members, take their neighbors, their community, and just enjoy themselves riding and taking in Mother Nature.
Nice. So how long do you ride when you ride?
It varies. It varies. I've known to ride for several hours. I've ridden my bike from the east side over to the west side as far as Edgewater Park.
Wow.
From where I live, which is up around Shaker, University Heights area. It just depends. It just depends. Edgewater Park, you have a lot of metro parks are beautiful, all the Rocky River, places like that where you just want to get out and just take in the scenery.
Very nice. And I like how you found something that you enjoy to do. That's the key too. People think you always have to just go to a gym and pump some weights. You can actually just get on a bike or find something you enjoy and do that for exercise.
Yes, yes.
What is your main goal with your organization?
Our main goal is on several fronts. One, we want to get across to people that riding a bike is good for you from a healthy standpoint. That the more you ride, the better your chances are where you can live a much more healthier life. Two, we want to be able to reduce the carbon footprint and get out from behind that wheel of that car and get out and enjoy the things that are immediately in front of your face, you know. And then more importantly, we want to educate the community that, you know, this is something that brings a community together. This is something that brings a family together. That, you know, you can get out and ride together, explore things together, and we just think overall it's a healthy thing for everyone involved.
Perfect, I like that. And you want for the whole family, right, to get
Yes.
involved?
Yes.
Very nice.
Children, I mean, we have kids that's 2, 3 years old, you know, on their bikes riding with their parents, and it's a beautiful thing when you see that.
So I have to ask you, you like bikes and you get out there. Is anybody, I could call you a cyclist now, anybody your mentor, or are you a mentor to someone with your organization?
Well, fortunately for me, my number one mentor was my father.
Okay.
My father, and I think that's where I get my entrepreneurship from, that bug that I have in me. My dad growing up was into real estate. He owned a real estate company called Elijah Wheeler and Son Realty Company. And at one time he had upwards to 25 to 30 salespeople working out of his office. And I'll never forget that. I would go on Saturday mornings as a kid, help clean up and dump the waste paper baskets and so forth and so on. But I watched him over the years, you know, do that. And he did that with a passion. The other person that come to mind would be, as I got older, I watched a gentleman by the name of Julian Madison, one of the Madison brothers. I watched him and talked to him from time to time and how he would do things and what he would do. And it was just inspirational. And, you know, I wanted to, you know, try to do the things that my father and Julian would do, you know, to make an impact in the community.
Very nice. Speaking of the community, with your organization, I know that you focus on everyone, but primarily African Americans, because obviously our death rates are higher for strokes and diabetes, and some of the diseases hit the African American community harder than others. But speaking of the community and African American culture, why do you think African American history is so important as it relates to health? Because when you look back, you know, you have higher numbers of people dying from strokes and different things where we didn't even know what it was, you know, during those times. But why do you think it is so important for people of today to understand and learn their African American history and culture?
Well, I think that it's always important to know your history, because then you have some sense of idea of where you're going in the future. You have some kind of roadmap to look at, to follow, to go down. If you don't know your history, you can't basically tell your future. So we urge people all the time to find out about your history. The African American Garden on Martin Luther King Boulevard, they need to take their families there and just, you know, look at that site. And that site in and of itself, for me, shows the resilience of our people and our culture, and how strong we are and where we were and where we've come and where we can go. So that's important. And so we would keep emphasizing and advocating that anywhere and everywhere we go.
The garden, that's what I was going to actually, you were right into my next question, is why is the African American Cultural Garden so important? But that, because it shows our history, and it's something I feel like we've worked so hard to get.
Yes.
It's like finally here.
Yes, and we're hoping that, you know, that people will continue to donate, give to it, come and visit it, you know, and get something really out of it, you know. But more importantly, at the end of the day, get the education that they really need so they can pass on to their kid, to the next generation, and so forth, to help strengthen our community and our culture.
Absolutely. Wanted to ask you, what is coming up with your organization? Anything coming up in the spring? Are you organizing anything?
At this juncture, we're not. What we plan on doing is getting out, you know, because of the pandemic. Unfortunately, we had to cut back on a lot of things. But what we try to do, we try to get around to different festivals throughout the year, you know, that they have either in Cleveland or in Boston and New York, and get our product out, talk to the people. We meet a lot of people from all walks of life, you know, and they tell us their story. And we love to hear their story because then we tell them our story. And it just opens up a line of communication, you know. And what you'll find out about in our business, that diversity is high on the list, you know, because it takes in anybody and everybody. At the end of the day, all we ask you to do is ride your bike.
Excellent. What do you want to say to the person who is watching and maybe just can't find the time to work out, or they're like, riding a bike, I don't have time, I don't know how, I don't want to, or they're not just really focusing on their health? Any words, tips to the man, the 50-year-old man that's out there, or anybody watching this?
You don't always have to be on a mobile bike. You can be on a stationary bike. Okay, they have stationary bikes where you can work out right there in your own home with a stationary bike. At the end of the day, the greatest wealth is your health. I don't care how much money you make or wherever you traveled or where you live. Your greatest wealth is your health. And then you take what I call draconian steps to mitigate any real major health problems. And that is to exercise each and every day in any way that you can.
How often do you bike?
Every day.
Oh,
every day. Now, I will preface myself first and foremost to say if the temperature drops below a certain temperature, I'm not going, you know. But I do have a stationary bike. I get on that and use the stationary bike. But if the temperature is right around 55 or up, I'm up and I'm out.
Okay, that's nice. So again, your organization, they provide, or how does you said biking equipment, different things.
Bike apparel.
Bike apparel,
Yeah,
oh, very
products,
cool. Okay.
Different things of that sort. And like I said, we're hoping to expand that product line this year, going now that the pandemic is hopefully going to wind down a little bit, and people are taking the precautionary steps to make sure that they do, and that it does, that we can expand into other products that people are interested in.
How can somebody join your organization?
Well, it's not really an organization, it's really a company, more or less.
Okay.
But they can always buy the product. They can always buy the product. And what they want to do is go to BKE and the number 4 life.com.
BKE and the number 4.
For life.com. And feel free to patronize the company. And then we, in turn, try to give back to different charity organizations a percentage of that profit to charity organizations that help people with their health issues.
Very nice, very nice. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Anything else you want to say to your audience or people that want to connect with you or hear more about your story and or purchase some equipment from the company?
Well, they can always go, like I said, again, _Bike4Life, BKE, 4life.com.
Okay.
They can always email us at bike4lifecleveland@gmail.com. They always call us. We have a toll-free number as well, too, 800 number. And we're willing to able to do whatever we have to do to make sure that you have the product that you need, the quality product that you need, and that we can exchange any kind of information with you to let you know what's coming down the pipe as it relates to, you know, biking in the community.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Elijah Wheeler, president of Bike4Life, coming on and talking about your story and giving us information about your company. Thank you so much, and congratulations on everything. And I wanted to thank you so much for watching the Association of the African American Cultural Gardens Sankofa Education Series. I'm your host, Cierra Nelson. Do not forget to watch for weekly interviews, watch for stories, and remember to donate. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
The Association of African American Cultural Gardens welcomes you to our segment, Do You Know?, where we highlight individuals past and present that have made tremendous accomplishments in our community. Let's see if you do know. He is a Bahamian American actor, filmmaker, and diplomat. In 1964, he was the first African American and first Bahamian to win the Academy Award for Best Actor in 1963. He is rightly celebrated for his pioneering in performances of the detective in The Heat of the Night, the teacher in To Serve with Love, and the doctor in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. His legacy is a giant and a gentleman who helped open the door for Black actors in the film industry. If you guess Sidney Poitier, then you do know.
Hi, I'm Michelle Brown Slaughter, and I'm a native Clevelander that grew up on the West Side. I did not know about the African Cultural Garden until after I moved away. It's located on Martin Luther King Boulevard. I recently returned to Cleveland and was disappointed to learn that the garden has not been completed yet. You know, Cleveland is now a well sought after city that is on the world stage, and we need to recognize the Black community's contribution to this city. So, I encourage every Clevelander who lives here or someplace else to sign up for a membership, dig down into your pocket, and donate money so the African American Cultural Garden can be completed. We've come too far to close the door on the opportunity to close this project out. So become a part of something bigger than you and I that will matter to future generations and help beautify Cleveland. I thank you in advance for your donation.